gentlemen, welcome aboard the Athletics Can't Wait Jets podcast, your nonstop shop for all things Jets. Now here are your hosts, Tim McMaster and Connor Hughes. Listen safely.
Can't wait.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Can't Wait podcast. Tim McMaster here along with Connor Hughes and Marissa Morris. The Jets get back in the win column, 21-14 over the Texans. Zach Wilson played every offensive snap. We'll break down his performance, the defensive resurgence, and we'll explain why Connor took one step closer to bypass surgery on Sunday with the press box food power rankings. Also just wanted to say, thank you for the kind words on social media about Rufus and hindsight. Probably should have waited until this week to talk about it. It got a little dusty here in the room when I was talking about the little guy, but he was our guy for 10 years and we said goodbye. And people said nice things on Twitter and social media. So very much appreciate that as well. So wanted to say that. And it is, what's Tuesday? We had Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I feel like it's only a matter of time.
It's
Giving
Tuesday.
Right. It's
what does that
Tuesday. Instead of buying things for people.
Yes, this is the most important one, let's be honest. Right?
Well, yeah, in the grand scheme of things.
Can you give me an espresso machine then, Marissa?
No, Connor. I can add it to my wedding registry for you if you want.
There you go. Did you do any fun Black Friday shopping? Anyone do any of that? This is probably like my weakest year yet, but did anyone do any?
No.
I used to live for
wish.
Black Friday.
I did get a little bit of online shopping done. But Connor,
I don't go to the
done
stores
all your
anymore.
Christmas shopping?
No, not even close.
Shopping.
But because Bree and I are married now, and she's in the other room, so she's gonna hear this and then be like, "Oh, I know." Like the pressure's alleviated for me because she's an incredible gift giver. And now that we're married, we're doing joint gifts. So it's from Connor and Bree. And I know she's going to run point on that and then just kind of ask my opinion on things. But like the majority of the research is going to be her. So I'm like, all right. I mean, it's more stressful for her than me. But I used to live for like the Black Friday shopping because that's when the video games all were put on sale. So you used to be able to get like, I remember $50 video games and eventually $60 video games. You could get them for like $25 when I was a kid. So me and my friends would stay up late. We would wait until, we'd have Thanksgiving. Then we'd meet at somebody's house. We'd wait till like 11 o'clock or so, then go out to the stores and wait for the doors to open and then rush into Walmart and Target and Best Buy to get the video games we wanted. I remember doing that for Modern Warfare 2, Left 4 Dead, the Maddens. I would get NBA games, all that stuff because they were $25. Like when else are you going to get games that cheap? And then when they started opening these stores at like 10 p.m. and then 9 p.m. and then 8 p.m. and then some of them like the doorbuster sales start at like 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving. That's when I stopped going because that's kind of lame. And I do like spending time with my family. So I would actually I converted almost entirely to online shopping. And I don't know if the deals are better in store than they are online, but I just stuck with online shopping. But the big get that Bree and I did actually come away with is we wanted to get a new Roomba. Like you guys have seen the Roomba run by my room every now and then. The battery's dying and the thing just like constantly needs to be charged. So we were looking for a new one of them. So we actually jumped on not a Roomba, but this thing called like a Robo-Rock. Because it has better suction than all of the Roombas. And it also mops in addition to vacuuming. And I've never felt more like a 30-year-old, which I will be turning in February, than getting legitimately excited that my Robo-Rock self-emptying vacuum is going to be getting to my apartment today at some point. And we're going to be able to set it up and make it work. So I'm excited about that.
We had the fun of not just putting like holiday lists for us, what we wanted, but putting one together for the baby. That was a good time. Like,
oh yeah,
I will give Mandy credit for doing almost all of it, but I approved. I was like, yes, that was good. Yes, that was good. All right, should we talk about the Jets? I think we should talk about the Jets.
Yeah, they won.
They won.
Of course, they won. And we're going to get to the positive because everybody knows now. Positive Kano. I think we're going with the hashtag. Did you miss the R on purpose?
No, that was a total mistake. Yeah, that was a total. Just like I had a typo, so I deleted the word after Connor, and then when I did it, it accidentally took off the R, and then I tweeted it, and I didn't realize it until like 3 or 4 minutes later. And by that point, everyone was like Kano, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna lean into this one.
I'm from New England. I'm all about forgetting R's at the end of words, so it's all good. So positive Kano. We will get to the positive stuff for sure. The defense was great, and the draft position is certainly good right now after the Monday night game. But we got to start with the quarterback, and that was less positive. Zach Wilson, after watching Mike White be successful, Josh Johnson be successful, Joe Flacco kind of be successful, it was kind of the same old Zach Wilson, 14 of 24, 145, no touchdowns, a pick. That's a 58.5 rating. And 46 of those yards came on one quick curl route to
31%
Braxton Berrios.
of those yards. That's the
yeah, with 31%, depending on how you want to do it. It was a lot of the same stuff, Connor. He missed some easy throws. I mean, it's a process, right? He said that after the game. We'll get to that word. It drives me nuts in sports, the word process. But it was his first time back. We shouldn't talk about rust, I don't think, but we shouldn't have expected to see a completely different quarterback either. So what was your takeaway?
Well, I mean, I think you should give Zach Wilson some credit for being as critical of himself as he was. You know, I mean, he did basically. I mean, he looked like somebody who shot his dog when he was on the post game press conference because he realized that he played poorly. Now, obviously, I like whenever like guys say like, look, I'm not going to make an excuse and then proceed to go and make excuses because he did. You know, he went out and he said like, look, I'm not going to make excuses. It wasn't rust. I just need to play better. But my knee's not right. My knee's not stable. It doesn't feel right. I'm thinking about it. Like it's still an issue. The headsets went out. You know, he made like whatever. I was kind of cracking up at that. But look, I think we've heard all, and this is no roaring defamation of like Zach Wilson as a player or as a person or anything like that. I mean, but we've basically had the Jets tell us over and over and over again for the last month about how much Zach Wilson's going to benefit from sitting and watching and how much he's going to sit and how much he's going to watch and how much he's going to learn from the bench. And he's going to see Mike White and he's going to see Joe Flacco and he's going to see Josh Johnson. And after seeing those three guys, he's going to see how this offense is supposed to run. He's going to see how this thing's supposed to work. And then he's going to take that and he's going to go in and reach a similar level of success when he gets back on the field. Like when Sam Darnold missed all that time with a foot injury, sat down, watched Josh McCown play, then came back in and played arguably the best stretch of his playing career, right? Like we're going to see something similar from Zach Wilson. And instead, we saw Zach Wilson against the Texans post-injury after watching for a month, after seeing how this offense is supposed to work, look absolutely no different than the Zach Wilson pre-injury. And I know a lot of people now are talking, I've heard like Saleh has said rust. Other people in the building have said rust, and they pointed out rust and how, he's rusty. He wasn't 100%. You know, he took a month off. Well, the month off was supposed to benefit him. The month off was supposed to make him look better. The month off was supposed to make him improve. And the other thing that I go back to, and the reason why I just think rust is such a lame excuse, is like Mike White had never played a game in his NFL career. And in this offense, threw for 405 yards against a much better Cincinnati Bengal team. Josh Johnson hadn't played a game since 2018. He went out there and threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Joe Flacco hadn't played in almost a year. He went out and threw for 291 and 2 scores and no picks. All three of those quarterbacks also had rust. And all three of those quarterbacks within the structure of this offense found a way to have success. And with Zach Wilson, we were back to seeing the fireball 100-mile-per-hour fastballs on every single throw, which when you need the 20-yard gain down the seam to Elijah Moore for the first down, that works. When you need the 5-yard pass to Tevin Coleman in the flat or Ty Johnson in the flat or Braxton Berrios on a drag, that doesn't work. We saw again, holding the ball too long and hitching and not getting rid of it when he should, which led to an increase in sacks, which led to an increase in quarterback hits, which led to him rolling out on the left sideline, jumping over a defender, landing awkwardly on his knee and limping for a couple minutes afterwards. And that led to him saying how the knee isn't totally right. It's not 100% yet, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. All of the things that we criticized Zach Wilson for pre-injury, all the things that we said he needed to improve on pre-injury, they were all back again post-injury. And look, this is not saying that Zach Wilson's going to be a bust. This isn't saying that, or hammering and ripping this kid because he's not a franchise quarterback yet in his 7th NFL start, or why isn't he Justin Herbert, or why is he not doing this, or why is he not doing that? Because that would be wrong. It would be a disservice to him. It would be a disservice to the Jets. It would be a disservice to all rookie quarterbacks across the NFL who don't find a way to have that blow up immediate success like Justin Herbert did. However, you still, and this was the point of my column after the game, you still need to see more from Zach. You needed to see more against the Texans. You need to see more of these final 6 games. And it's not about being a franchise quarterback right now. It's not about being a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. It's more about him just making the most easy aspects of playing quarterback not look so hard. When it's not there, throw it away. Don't hold it. Don't wait. Don't hold it. Don't wait. Don't hold it that way and then get walloped. Get rid of it. When you have someone open, 5 yards or behind the line of scrimmage, make the throw to him. The two perfect examples of that, which just had me wanting to pull my hair out in the press box, is Tevin Coleman goes out in the flat to the right on like 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 12 or something along those lines. He's wide open. If Zach gets him the ball in the flat 5 yards away from him, Tevin Coleman's going to catch that ball and at a minimum pick up 5 to 7 yards. That 5 to 7 yards sets up a ridiculously manageable third down. You're now looking at 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. Instead, Zach throws it high and a little bit behind him, so Tevin's got to jump up and catch it, where even if he was able to bring it down, and we got his hands on it, but it was super high, so it went through his hands. Even if he's able to get his hands on it, because of the placement of the ball, he's going to come down and get hit, and for a no gain, maybe 1 yard. If he gets hit in stride and he just hits it for 5 yards, he's catching the ball, he's picking up 7 yards, right? The next play, Elijah Moore is coming across the middle on a drag, bounces at his feet. And don't get me wrong, like he did come back. The throw to Elijah Moore for 22, the throw to Elijah Moore for 16, the throw to Keelan Cole for 13 on 4th and 5. Those were wildly impressive throws. They were really, really, really impressive throws from Zach Wilson. But you just want to see a semblance of consistency at this point, because I would trade those, wow, look at that laser beam 22 yards for him to connect on the 5 underneath patterns that would have had the Jets moving down the field in the first place. And I know Saleh like praised him for the 3 long drives he took the Jets on. He praised him for managing the game and all those things. And you're right, that is a step in the right direction. But when you look at his numbers, when you look at his statistics, under 60% completion percentage, again, the boneheaded interception, again, the missed easy passes, again, those are the things that you want to be out of his game. They were the things that were supposed to be out of his game after watching Mike White and Josh Johnson and Joe Flacco. And instead, he looks exactly the same. And again, that doesn't mean this isn't going to improve. This doesn't mean it's not going to get better. But at this point, you do want to see him better than what he is right now. When you play rookie quarterbacks, again, it's not about them being all pros, franchise guys their first year, but you want to see him get a little bit better as the year goes on. I don't believe that you can make that statement about Zach Wilson. I don't believe you could have made that about him before the injury. I know Saleh said he could, but in my opinion, you couldn't make that statement about him getting better when he left the lineup against the Patriots. You can't make that statement when he's been reinserted into the starting lineup against the Texans. And that to me is a little alarming. And it goes even more, like you can even go and criticize him for some of the fundamental breakdowns of like, it's just a bang, bang play. Like they ran an RPO to Elijah Moore where they had Elijah Moore coming in on a slant. And when Zach put the ball out, basically the entire Texans defense jumped up. Like they all took a step forward. Zach rightfully pulled the ball away and then just had a 5-yard slant to Elijah Moore, where if he hits him on that play, you're talking about a house call. You're talking about a very similar situation when Flacco hit him and he went 62 yards to the house. Zach starts backpedaling, doesn't plant his feet, and tries to sidearm and whip it to Elijah Moore. And by trying to sidearm and whip it to Elijah Moore, he ends up nearly having the pass intercepted at the Jets' 10-yard line. So from what could have been a borderline gimme 90-yard house call, or at least a big gainer to Elijah Moore, to a near interception. Like, these are the plays that just shouldn't be happening. And you do see some of those dazzling plays, like the one there. He had where he rolled out left and hit Ryan Griffin, and Ryan Griffin dropped the pass because Ryan Griffin sucks at football. Like, you see those things, and they're good, and they're positives, and you do like them. But he's got to stop making the hard parts of this game, he needs to stop making the easy parts of this game hard. He does, and for whatever reason, that's not happening. And it's not to write him off. It's not to say he's a bust. It's not to say he's not going to turn this around. I mean, look at Tua. Tua looked awful his first year, and now he's playing some really legitimate good football. Like, Tua's playing some good football for the Dolphins right now. DJ lets me know about it every single time we are in the press box together. Seriously, like Tua's playing some good football. You can turn it around and play good ball, but the easy parts again should not be so hard for Zach. And again, I'm not ripping the kid. I'm not bagging on the kid, but it would be a disservice to him, and it would be a disservice as a reporter to not tell you what I see when I see him play. And this doesn't mean that he can't turn it around again. I want to keep reiterating that because I don't want to have people in my mentions about, oh my God, you hate Zach Wilson so much. No, that's not. Trust me, Zach Wilson being good is good for my career. So I want the kid to be good. Like, that's all you guys know. I'm not a Jets fan, so I don't give two craps about that. But this guy being good is good for my career. So I want him to be killer. I want him to be all pro. I want to cover playoff games and Super Bowl runs and all that stuff. It is good for my career. Seriously. But right now, I expected to see a better Zach Wilson than what I've seen. And I haven't. If you look at Sam Darnold, his rookie year, he got better as the year went on. He finished the season with the best 4-game stretch, arguably, of his career. Maybe Zach Wilson does that same thing. Maybe it was a little bit of rust and he had to knock it off, and he comes out against the Eagles and plays really good football, and comes out against the Saints and plays really good football. But right now I have to go off what my eyes see, because I'm not in meetings with him. We don't get to see practice. And what my eyes see is a quarterback that struggled pre-injury, and the exact same things he struggled with pre-injury, after watching Johnson and watching White and watching Flacco and having this magic elixir of sitting back and observing. And that's all the Jets told us, was that he's going to sit back and observe, and he's going to be so much better, and he's going to be better. He's going to benefit him so much. We see him his first game after seeing, watching, observing, and he's not any better. And now suddenly we're being told that there's rust. And like, eventually the excuses need to stop for the kid, and you just need to put it like it is, which is what I did in my post-game column. Put it like it is. He needs to play better. Period. Like, Zach Wilson needs to play better. The Jets beat the Texans on Sunday, not because of him, but in spite of him. That's a fact. Josh Johnson could have done everything Zach Wilson did. Mike White could have done everything Zach Wilson did. Joe Flacco could have done everything Zach Wilson did. He needs to play better. Period. Doesn't mean he won't. Doesn't mean he's a bust. But at this point in his career, he needs to play better. Excuses need to stop. He's got his personal quarterbacks coach. He's got the veteran quarterbacks coach. He's got the offensive coordinator back in the booth. He's running an offense that Mike White, Josh Johnson, and Joe Flacco have all had immense success in. And it doesn't work with him. And the fact that it's not about Zach looking like a rookie, but Zach looking like the worst quarterback on the Jets roster right now, that's what needs to change. And I fully believe that it will. I fully believe that it can, but we got to now see it. We got to stop hearing it. We got to stop hearing it spoken to us. We got to have it stop being told to us. We need to see it with our eyes. The Jets see it on the practice field. The Jets see it with their in the film room. They see the signs that he's getting better every single day, but now we got to see it on the field, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep remembering too that it was against the Texans. It's not a good football team in any way that he did what he did. There was some bright notes on the offense. One was play calling. Continued to be impressed with the way LaFleur has developed over the course of the season, and the usage of Elijah Moore, who had 4 catches, 46 yards, and they got him the ball in different ways. Connor, the way we've talked about it, the jet sweep though, the sweep on 4th down was cool. So even though Zach Wilson was struggling, at least they were still able to get Elijah Moore the ball. That was the biggest positive I saw on the offensive side of things.
Not even just the getting Elijah Moore the ball. And I wrote about this yesterday. It's the way in which they got Elijah Moore the ball. I think that's what I've been most impressed with Mike LaFleur ever since that Cincinnati Bengal Mike White game, is that his creativity, his ingenuity, the way that he's taken this offense and been like, let's go have some fun. It's working. And this is actually literally what I wrote, was the first 4 or 5 games of this Jets season, watching Mike LaFleur, I'm not going to lie, I was sitting up in the booth saying, like, I wonder if that offensive genius gene skipped a generation with him and his brother, because the scheme was boring. It was not interesting. It wasn't fun. There wasn't creativity. It was like, honestly, it kind of reminded me of the offense that I covered with Jeremy Bates and the offense that I covered with Adam Gase. And it was just like, man, here we go again. It's another situation where the Jets just can't find an offensive coordinator. And ever since he went back up in that booth, and I don't know how much that had to play with it, but it is going to be like the marking point of like where everyone looks at, well, when he went to the booth and he became Booth LaFleur, when he went back up there, or when he went up there, things started changing. And I can't remember if we talked about this on the podcast last week, but there was a play against the Dolphins where he took Elijah Moore, because Elijah Moore is the one who's benefiting most from this newfound Mike LaFleur. Like, he's the one who's easily the one who is benefiting the most. Against the Dolphins, they took Elijah Moore and they lined him up almost in a offset wingback or offset halfback formation, like they were running the wing T. I mean, I remember sitting up in the press box and looking down at it and seeing Elijah Moore in like that H-back position and looking at it and being like, man, that's like the offense Seneca High School ran when I was there. Like, you got the tailback in the back, the quarterback under center, the running back on the right, and the running back runs left and right and goes back, and they can get it on the sweep, or they can come around and you run jet sweeps. And I was like, man, it's like the wing T. But lined up on the right side of the formation, Elijah Moore then burst vertical off the line and then began to transition toward the left half of the field. And he was open. And I remember tweeting, that was really creative. That was fun. He was open. Flacco just didn't go his way. Flacco went right. But if he had locked on to Elijah Moore, and I don't know if the Jets were using it to set something up in the future, but he saw Elijah Moore. And if he saw Elijah Moore, I should say, it's going for like 60-yard touchdown. Like the guy is wide open. Like it was a great creativity, great way to get him lined up. He ended up being matched up on like a linebacker safety. So he just blew past those guys. It was fun. Then you see the very next week, the creativity continues. The play where they motion Tevin Coleman right near the goal line, and they take Elijah Moore and they put him in the backfield. Elijah Moore then goes left. Zach fakes it to him and then comes back to Tevin Coleman. It didn't totally work because Coleman was covered, but that creativity is unique. 4th and 1, Jets need a first down. Instead of running it up the middle like they had done before where Greg Van Roten got beat and it's like, oh no, what are you doing? You go like, come on, what are you doing? He brings Elijah Moore on the sweep, hands it to him while he's basically running full speed. So he's got all his momentum going, takes it around the outside, first down Jets. Like, that's cool. That's creative. That's even when they need to get Zach Wilson going and like, all right, let's get him the easy throws. Let's just take it out of him. Let's give him sweeps and handoffs and stuff like that. The little underneath, like basically grandma throw pass where he got it to Elijah Moore, took it around the outside for a first down. Like that creativity from LaFleur and the way the Jets are now designing ways to get the ball in Elijah Moore's hands. I mean, that has been what we've been clamoring for them to do every moment that Elijah's been in the lineup. We've been saying, just get the ball in this guy's hands. He is the most explosive player on your offense. Corey Davis, maybe your best overall receiver. Jamison Crowder, maybe your best route runner. Keelan Cole is probably the fastest player on this team. But Elijah Moore is your most explosive player. Just give him the ball and good things happen. Remember the little screen pass they threw him against the New England Patriots in Foxborough where he made 2 guys miss and got the first down? Like, just get this kid the ball. And the Jets are starting to just design ways to put the ball in his hands, and you're starting to see the benefit of it. I mean, it's really fun. It is really, really fun watching this guy play, really fun watching this guy work. And a really, honestly, like a big hat tip to Mike LaFleur because he's kind of started to really expand this offense. He's gotten more aggressive. He's gotten more creative. He's gotten more like a guy who resembles that quote unquote offensive genius. And I'm fascinated by it. And we talked to him on Thursday. And the one thing I'm going to ask him, and I'm very curious to say this, is like, why has the creativity come about now? Is it because the Jets are getting more plays? Is it because he's changed a little bit? Is it because he's seeing the field differently? Because there has been a stark difference in that department over the last few weeks. And I want to know why. And I didn't get a chance to ask him on Friday, obviously, because it was Black Friday and stuff like that. And we were tied down as a family. But this week, I'm excited to ask him about that because I'm curious what he's going to say.
Yeah, me too. We're going to talk about the defense, more positive stuff coming up after this break.
Can't wait, listeners. I've heard us talk a lot about Magic Spoon because it's just so good. Growing up, cereal was one of the best parts about being a kid, but we had to give it up because we realized it was full of sugar and junk that you really shouldn't eat until Magic Spoon came along. There are 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving, and it's only 140 calories a serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. And you could build your very own custom box. Available flavors to build your own bundle include cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, and maple waffle. So, if you want to test it out, go to magicspoon.com/wait to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code WAIT at checkout to save $5 off your order. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/wait and use the code WAIT to save $5 off. Thanks to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this episode. This podcast is brought to you by DirecTV Stream. Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows, you're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friend's login for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all the entertainment you love without all the hassle. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device again. And the best part, there's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package.
All right, we are back, and we are talking about the defense, which held the Texans to 45 yards in the second half, allowed the Jets to come back and win this football game. They did all the things they were doing early in the season. They had a pass rush. John Franklin Myers with a couple of sacks plus the interception. The Williams brothers were good, a couple of sacks between them. I mean, all over, Connor, you started to see there's these positive signs on defense that honestly I didn't see coming 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, we should talk a lot about that. But the first thing I want to touch upon is honestly you said is the Williamses, like Quincy and Quinnen. I just, it's cool when it's cool when you have like two brothers in the NFL, right? Because you had Tiki and Rondé Barber, like that was pretty cool. You've got the Watts, that's pretty cool. I mean, you have the Gronkowskis, that was pretty cool. You had the Mannings, that was pretty cool. I mean, anytime Hasselbacks, like there's been tons of them. Like it's cool anytime you have brothers playing. It's uniquely cool when you have both brothers that play on the same side of the ball, right? Like I don't know if there's ever been a quarterback receiver brother combination, but that would have been kind of cool. You know what I mean? Or like when you had Sterling and Channing Sharp, receiver and tight end, like that's been pretty neat. It's almost unheard of when you have two brothers playing on the same side of the ball, both within the same age, right? And it is unheard of when they play for the exact same team. Right, because you have the Watts like are together in Pittsburgh right now, but they don't play, like the one's a fullback and the other one's a defensive end. So they're not playing on the same side of the ball. It's not like you have JJ and TJ on the same defensive line. So for the
McCourties would be the closest thing, I think. Right?
Yeah, the McCourties, where you have a corner and a secondary. Yeah, like that's probably about as close as you can get. But I think what's wild, and it does work out with that as well, with the McCourties as well, is that the Jets now suddenly have Quincy and Quinnen Williams, two young brothers playing on the same defense. That's cool. But what's wild is that they're both playing really good football. Like both players look like they're real players. Like when the Jets first signed Quincy, when they first claimed him off the waiver wire, I remember sitting there thinking like, oh, that's cute. Like they want to pair Quinnen and Quincy together. They have the Williams brothers. And I was like, Quincy is going to be a special teamer. Like if the guy has to play significant defense, the Jets are probably in trouble. And the reason why the Jets claimed him, and Saleh explained it, is that they viewed him when they scouted him back when he came out of the draft, was a third-round pick, as a athletic, fast, physical, 100-mile-per-hour, no bullshit, knock your teeth out linebacker, where he's not a thinker. He's just see ball, get ball. And he's best fit in an attacking defense. And when the Jaguars drafted him, they were still kind of running that same Robert Saleh defense there. But one of the reasons why Saleh wanted him in San Francisco was because he felt that skill set would be a perfect fit in his defense. When Urban Meyer took over in Jacksonville, he brought in a new scheme. He brought in a new defense, and it was more thinking, and it was more reactionary. And that's not Quincy, so they moved on from him and they cut him. Saleh and Douglas jumped at the opportunity to add him to this defense because they felt like their scheme could get the best out of him. I don't know if they expected to get this, though, because this guy looks like a legitimate player. Like, he doesn't look like he's just playing because has to. He doesn't look like he's just making plays anymore. I mean, when he was first got out there with the Jets, Quincy, he was very much like a more athletic version of Neville Hewitt, where he's going to be out of position. He's not always going to do the right thing. But when he hits somebody, he's going to knock the hell out of them. And that's obviously going to make people think he's a little bit better than he is. But over the last couple of weeks, he's really developed. He's really come into his own. And the mistakes have slowly but surely gone down and down and down. And the big plays have gone up and up and up. I mean, last week, the 15 tackles, he's a big reason for the Jets' defensive resurgence against the Dolphins. This week, again, I think he had 7 tackles this week. He had the sack this week. Like, he's making really good plays. And then you add him into Quinnen Williams, who is obviously a defensive mainstay, 6 sacks this year. He's developing and trying to become one of the league's premier 34 defensive ends. It's really neat to have those two guys both playing on the same group. I mean, I just think that's cool. I genuinely do. I think that's awesome. And I know the Jets invested a lot in Jared Davis. I know that he's a player that a lot of money, but not years. It's only a 1-year deal. But they signed him to be a staple in their defense. They wanted him, like Robert Saleh said when he was first coming back from injury. He's a starter. He's going to play starter reps. You can't discount the fact that while the Jets have taken him out of the lineup to give him a little bit more time to heal up, Quincy Williams goes back in and suddenly the defense looks completely different. I mean, it is a completely different defense when Quincy Williams is out there. And I don't know if it's the yin and the yang of him and CJ, who's such a cerebral player, such a thinker, such a smart player. I don't know if having him there paired with the wild child Tasmanian devil that is Quincy Williams is just like an ideal pairing that makes this defense work. But it works. And for whatever reason, I wouldn't break up the marriage, because right now the Jets have played some really good football on defense. And when they've played really good football on defense, it's been when Quincy Williams is out there. And when they've played really bad, it's been when Quincy Williams is not out there. And I wouldn't go shaking it up if you don't have to. And the fact that these two guys are brothers, I think that's just awesome. Like, I really do believe that that's just really, really cool.
The other real feel-good story on this defense is Elijah Riley. Talk about guys coming out of nowhere. I think your quote on the podcast last week was, when you're talking about just the fact that he played, Connor was like, who? And it's fair. But look at this guy. 2 games in, he's playing well. His PFF grade 73.9 through 2 games. I mean, here's another situation where you got to give some credit to this front office for finding a guy in a practice squad around the league, and he's contributing.
I was tweeting. I wanted to tweet this out. Yeah. So here's the thing. The Jets, there's connections, obviously, the Eagles staff because of Joe Douglas and stuff like that. And I know, Marissa, you were telling me that we should actually have Bo on. I don't know if he's available to just kind of come on for 5 minutes and talk about. Oh yeah. Bo Wolf, our Eagles guy, apparently was a big Riley,
big Elijah Riley fan. Yes.
Yeah, and said he was like tearing it up or something like that in Philadelphia, and he thought he was a really good player and going to be a really good player. And the Jets. The Jets were literally able to get this kid, undrafted guy out of Army, really hasn't played too much football in his career, was stashed on the Eagles practice squad for nothing. And ever since they got him and they brought him in and he traded in his Kelly Green helmet for the Gotham Green one, he has wildly impressed the coaching staff. He's everywhere on the field. He runs around like crazy. But the one thing that this staff loves more than anything else is that he tends to be, or seems to be, a ball hawk. Where, we talked about this with the Jets secondary, right? And we should talk about this too, to make a note on Bryce Hall's kind of continued development. But the Jets look at Bryce Hall, the one I don't look at. Bryce Hall. The Jets look at Bryce Hall, Brandon Echols, and Mike Carter and see all 3 of those guys as good players. Good players to potentially really good players. But they see all 3 of them as number 2 corners. And the one thing that's separating them from being a number 1 corner is they just don't have that innate ability to find the football. Whether it's an interception, whether it's a forced fumble, whether it's, sometimes it's luck where the ball just bounces up in the air and it finds their way to their hands. There are players like New England's J.C. Jackson that just intercept passes. Players like Trayvon Diggs in Dallas that just intercept passes. They're not the best coverage guys in the world. They're going to get beat sometimes, but they're number 1 corners, game-changing corners, because they find the football. They just have an ability to go and find the football. That's not really Bryce Hall. He doesn't have that ability. Good player, looking like he's really coming along this year. Same thing with Brandon Echols. Jets really believe in his upside. Same thing with Mike Carter. Jets love his upside in the player he is right now, but none of those guys are get ball guys. And they don't believe they really have a get ball guy in their secondary, because it's not really Marcus May as the deep threat. It hasn't really been Ashton Davis this year. All the Jets are holding out hope he can develop and still view him right now kind of as still a rookie, because he didn't really have a rookie season, then got hurt, missed the whole off season. So he's still learning this defensive scheme and coming along. But they don't really have a player on defense, unless maybe it's Shaq Lawson and John Franklin Myers, that are like, go, balls in the air, get the ball, pick it off. Ever since Elijah Riley has arrived with the Jets, that's everything that he's been doing in practice. Every day in practice, it seems like he's around the ball. Every day in practice, he's getting his hands on the ball. Every day in practice, he seems like he's coming away with an interception. And so Saleh saw this, Ulbrich saw this, and they were like, you know what? Let's put the guy out there. Let's put the guy on defense. We've got nothing else. I mean, who are we benching? Like Wilson? Niesman? I mean, who are we taking off at safety? Like with our guys out, let's put him out there. We signed him off the Eagles practice squad. He's impressed us since he's been here. Let's give him a chance to start. And against the Dolphins, he looked pretty good, and he kind of stabilized that back end a little bit with Ashton Davis. Here against the Houston Texans, he was in the backfield to help slow down a running back to get a tackle for a loss. He solo got a tackle for a loss himself. He was active near the line. You could tell every time he makes a play, he goes crazy where he's fist bumping the air, and you can tell he's an energetic wild child, very similar to Quincy Williams. The one thing that we haven't seen yet on Sundays that the Jets have seen, and they can't wait, and they're hoping they start to see it in games, is that ability to get the football, to intercept the football, to make plays on the football. And, we've seen enough guys that have been with the Jets and gone elsewhere and suddenly randomly found success. Obviously Danny Woodhead's the famous one where he went to New England and he was, the Jets cast off. He made some plays and then all of a sudden he exploded with New England. It would be kind of cool if the Jets finally get one to go their way where they have this position of need, right? They need safeties. They look to the Eagles practice squad. They bring this guy, Elijah Riley, in, and they give him an opportunity to play, and he turns out to be a pretty good player because we've seen from him already the physicality. We've seen from him the intensity. We've seen from him the energy ball that he brings to him and the rest of the guys on defense. Now it's about seeing him intercepting some passes. And if he can find a way to get himself around footballs, if he can find a way to start taking footballs away from the opposition and be that player on defense that sees ball, gets ball, not just hits like Quincy Williams, but actually picks it off in the secondary, a player that the Jets don't really have, maybe they found someone pretty good. I mean, at this point, that's what you can watch the rest of the way. I mean, you've got 7 games now, 6-7 games now where they can evaluate and they can try to develop and they can see some players where you're like, you know what? Next year, maybe we don't have to give a ton of money to a free agent safety. Maybe next year we don't have to invest a second-round pick or a third-round pick in a safety. Maybe we try to go into this one with a veteran that we can get, like when they signed LaMarcus Joyner, and they got LaMarcus Joyner pretty cheap. Maybe we can go in there with another player like LaMarcus Joyner and then let Ashton Davis and Elijah Riley compete for a starting job, because one of the players that I've been impressed with on defense since he took over, and Quincy obviously is one of them. Like, I think Quincy, takes the cake on all of that. But another player that's kind of been like, who? And then, wow, has been Elijah Riley. It really has.
All right, you mentioned Bryce Hall, so we might as well get back to him as well. And one thing that I think is interesting is maybe he's never going to be a number 1 corner. That's fair. But right now on this roster, he is getting the best receiver on the other team week to week. He's getting moved around to cover that best receiver, which is only going to make him better.
Yeah. And I give Bryce Hall a lot of credit, because when he first started, I was like, man, is he really in it? And I give Jet fans, but he's one of those guys that's been like a Jet fan favorite, right? And Jet fans generally find, I'm going to tweet this out that we're talking about Bryce Hall, because everyone seems to really like Bryce Hall. Talking Bryce Hall now. Man,
Need our own social media.
Used to have
associate.
one. Then she started doing everything else. Marissa does the tweeting. Remember that? That was fun. We do need that. But I would settle. I mean, we got Marissa. We just got Marissa a microphone. So I don't know how much longer it's going to take before. I don't know how much longer it's going to take before we get a social media person to run our Twitter.
I think the chat likes
we're on like 6
Connor.
months of waiting for a new logo.
Multitasking Connor is pretty entertaining.
Where are we at with that, by the way? Do we know? Real quick before we go into Bryce Hall, we let some people join to hear us talk about Bryce Hall. Are we close to getting a new logo and merch?
I have a call this week.
Yeah. Can we get so for the you do have a call this week.
These off the record conversations when Connor has them live on the podcast are always super entertaining. Tim and I are sitting here like with our, on eggshells, like, what
just don't get me fired, Connor. Don't get me fired.
For merch.
Positive Kano over there.
Positive Kano would like the following merch for the Can't Wait podcast added. And everyone who's joining, we're going to talk about Bryce Hall, but I need to get this across to Tim now because I'm going to forget and we have to leave. You have obligations. I have obligations. One, I think these would sell incredibly well. I think if we have Can't Wait mugs, coffee mugs, or like travel coffee mugs, I think that would be good. Obviously, shirts and hoodies, I think that would be good. If we can somehow make like sayings and stuff that get going with the Can't Wait merch so that are like relevant to the season, like, just give it to Elijah and then the Can't Wait logo at the top, I think that would sell very well. And the other big one is golf polos, because I don't think enough merch places give out golf polos because they're versatile gear. I mean, you can wear them out to nice dinners and all that stuff. So I think that and also that's all I got. And hats. Okay. Hats. I want Can't Wait hats. But before you order the Can't Wait hats or anyone orders Can't Wait hats, make sure that I am there to help pick them because they need to be structured right, because sometimes they're like too small and so they fit weird, and sometimes they're too big so they sit like that. So I need to be involved in the hat picking because they need to, like this one from Roback, like this is a perfectly proportioned hat. Like it's a great hat. It's a good one. So before we order Can't Wait hats, I need to be a part of that because even sometimes Under Armour and Nike ones aren't good. So I'm going to need to be involved in that.
Fair enough. Bryce Hall.
Make sure. Bryce Hall. So Jet fans love this kid. And it was, every year with players, like there's always like the random guy, usually a middle like round guy or a late round guy that fans just grab onto and hold him like he's their firstborn kid and they just want him to be great. And I always watch him like, I got to see the kid. I got to see him play football. because I've seen enough of these kids where it's like, no, like this guy doesn't make it or all that fun stuff. So Bryce Hall was one where I was like, all right, I got to see more. Like, I know he had the impressive interception against the Rams. I know he played okay as a rookie, but I was like, I got to see him. And in training camp, he did leave much to be desired. There wasn't like any point in training camp where I thought, oh my God, this guy's a no doubt starter. Like, I was like, okay, he's somebody that you can continue to develop. But what we've seen as this season began and has gone on is a kid who's really developed. And again, I want to stress, he's not a number one corner. He's not ever going to be an elite level number one. And the reason why I don't think he's going to be an elite level number one is because of the ball skills that he just doesn't have. I mean, this guy, if the ball's a magnet, his hand's the opposite pole and it like deflects. I mean, the guy can't get an interception to save his life. It reminds me actually a little bit of Prince Amukamara, the former Giants cornerback. Like, he was Prince, and Prince had a hell of a career. Like, Prince Amukamara had a hell of a career. He played well for the Giants, went on, had a really decent tenure with the Chicago Bears as well. And he was a guy that played really good coverage, was a really good number 2 for the Giants and a really good number 2 for the Bears, but he just couldn't intercept the football. He didn't have that ability to just get the football for whatever reason. It just never seemed to happen for him. What I think we've seen Bryce Hall do, and I know he's shadowing the opponent's number one now. I mean, he's shadowing the opponent's number one out of like necessity, because if he's not, you basically got to go to Isaiah Dunn. Now, Javelin Guidry had a hell of a game against the Dolphins, and I think you're going to see that going forward. I'm sorry, Michael Dunn's, and your Dunn brethren is not playing all that well, but I think that Javelin Guidry at least stabilized that outside some against Houston, and I think you're going to see him with Bryce Hall and then Carter in the slot the rest of the way. But I think what we've seen now from Bryce Hall is the ability to really be that number 2, that he is the guy that if you pair him with a true number 1, and then you have Mike Carter in the slot, you have a legitimate 1-2-3 cornerbacking trio. That is going to be that's a secondary you can win with. And you got to fix and adjust the safety position some. You still need another pass rusher. But I think if you add, we're not going into this offseason anymore saying the Jets need to completely remake their cornerbacking position. We're not going into it saying, oh my God, they need 2-3 corners plus 2 safeties. What we're saying now is they just need a number 1 corner, because Bryce Hall can be your number 2. Carter can be your nickel. Javelin Guidry and Isaiah Dunn, who are both under contract, can be that rotation to fill in. If Hall goes down, you now have confidence in Guidry. If Carter goes down, you know Guidry can play in there. The Jets still do believe in Isaiah Dunn. So if he develops a little bit more and then somebody goes down, he can go in. I mean, he's going to get his scars this season taking a beating. Eccles, same thing. If Hall goes down, or even this one, you can put Eccles out there as well. With Hall now and the way that he's developed this year, you now know you have a fixture as one of your starting corners. With Carter, you know you have a fixture as one of your starting corners. Now it's just about finding that true number 1. If that's Jackson, if that's Stingley, as Dane Brugler mocked to the Jets today in his first round mock. This, like, you now have the makings of a secondary, and you have the starting makings of a secondary because of the development of Hall. Big reason, because of the development of Hall. I mean, we kind of always figured Carter was going to be a player in the nickel there. I didn't think the Jets had an outside corner. I didn't believe in Eccles. I didn't really believe in Hall, and I didn't really believe in Dunn. The Jets believe in Eccles, although I haven't seen it yet. But with Hall, the Jets believe in him, and now I've seen enough of him to say, like, okay, he's a starting corner in the NFL. He's a number 2 corner in the NFL. Now go get your number 1. And that's been one of the more positive developments of this Jets season.
All right, draft pick update and Pressbox Food Power Rankings coming up after this break. Whether you've been in a relationship for years or if you're just getting started, having the confidence that comes from preparation means you're free to enjoy the moment when that moment comes. So go to GetRoman.com/wait now to speak to a U.S. licensed healthcare professional about erectile dysfunction and get $15 off your first month of treatment. ED is more common than most people think. In fact, 52% of men between the ages of 40 and 70 will experience some form of ED. The benefits of ED treatment can help you reconnect with your partner. Roman Ready is confidence personified. It is the self-assurance that comes from knowing you've prepared yourself for the moment when intimacy arrives. Roman's system is completely confidential. It's totally discreet. There's no big logos or labels on the packages. With Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for ED, all from the comfort and privacy of your home. A U.S. licensed healthcare professional will work with you to find the best treatment plan if medication is appropriate. It ships to you free with 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward, convenient, and it's discreet. Getting started also simple. Just go to GetRoman.com/wait, complete an online visit. Go to GetRoman.com/wait today. If you're prescribed, get $15 off your first month of ED treatment. Make sure you're ready to have confidence and control this fall. Roman ready. All right, we're going to get to the abundance of food available in Houston. But first, the draft pick update. The Jets moved back a spot with the win, but amazingly, don't lose that spot because the Seahawks went out on Monday night and ruined my picks because I was on my way to a 3-0 week, guys. I was going to be back in it. And the Seahawks lay an egg in Washington. They lose 17-15 on Monday night. So now they're 3-8, same record as the Jets. They have the number 4 pick, Jets 5. Can you imagine if the Jets pick 4 and 5? That'd be fantastic. And there's a chance the Giants could pick 6 and 7. Doesn't speak
aren't
for
the Eagles 9 and 10? And the Eagles are 9 and 10.
Doesn't speak well for Northeastern United States American football, but
no.
Anyway, Connor, the Seahawks thing is incredible.
Yeah, it is, and that's the most and the Jets are in as disbelief of this as anyone else. I mean, when they traded Jamal Adams, the assumption is like you trade for a first round pick. When you trade for a first round pick, you value it by where you believe it's going to go. The Jets viewed that as a pick that was going to be anywhere from 20 to 32. They thought the Seahawks had a chance to win a Super Bowl, and the fact that they got this pick from Seattle and that we are now on November 30th and that Seahawks pick, the Jets are 3-8 and that Seahawks pick is better than the one that the Jets have is mind-blowing. I can't believe it. People in that building can't believe it, but they're heel clicking down the hallways realizing like, holy crap, it was the, oh no. Do I still have you guys?
Yeah, you're
Tim talk.
Yep.
Oh no, now you're coming out of my speaker. Damn. I hate how the iPad does that, or the let me see if oh no, you're back. Okay, good. I hate how like when you take the AirPod out, it like immediately disconnects. It's like, okay, I guess you want to put these away. Like, no, it fell out of my ear because your original AirPods suck. But like when they looked at this pick originally, it was like the fact, like again, the fact that this pick organically, like it's this bad. The Jets didn't see this. No one around the league saw this. And it's just like, it just keeps getting better and better and just completely fleecing them. Like it's a ridiculous fleecing. The fact that the 4th pick in the draft is owned by the Seahawks and the Jets hold that pick. The Seahawks with Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf and Jamal Adams is the 4th pick. Like that blows my mind. And it's a trade. By trading a box safety who can't cover and is now shying away from contact on runs, by trading that away, the Jets are potentially having 2 picks within the top 10 that could be cornerstone, change your franchise selections. Change your franchise selections because they traded away a box safety who didn't want to be here. Like, that is ridiculous to me. And now I will say, like, going across the schedule, and we did this last week, like, you can't obviously count any, after the Seahawks lost to Washington, you can't count on them to beat anybody, but they're scheduled the rest of the way. I mean, it's not quote unquote easy, I would say. I mean, San Francisco week 13, I would assume that's a loss. Like, I don't see how they're going to beat the 49ers, who now suddenly seem like they're playing some really good football. They're healthy. The defense is back. Jimmy Garoppolo is back to managing the game pretty well. So I think the Seahawks lose to San Francisco pretty easily. They should beat the Texans in week 14. They play the Rams in week 15. I think that's going to be a loss. I wouldn't write them as beating the Chicago Bears in week 16. I mean, I don't think the Bears are a terrible football team. I know Matt Nagy's not a very good coach, but they've got pieces on defense. And Justin Fields seems like he's getting better. And if he's back in the lineup, or even if it's Andy Dalton, I mean, we just watched Tyler Heineke beat the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson. Like, I would not rule off the Chicago Bears of beating them. Then in week 17, they play the Detroit Lions, so they're probably going to beat them. But then you get week 18, the Arizona Cardinals. So there's a chance here that the Seahawks lose to San Francisco, lose to Los Angeles, lose to Chicago, and lose to Arizona. And then if they beat Detroit and Houston, that's a 2-4 finish. Like, that's going to put them in, that's going to take them probably out of the top 4, but that's still probably going to be a 6 or the top 6, top 7 pick. That's pretty impressive. And now the Jets schedule, obviously the way they beat the Texans, and it's all Zach Wilson predicated. But if the defense plays like they did against Houston and the defense plays like they did against Miami, the Jets are going to have a chance against Philadelphia week 13, against Miami week 15, against Jacksonville week 16. And the Bills are resting their starters potentially week 18 as well. So, I mean, there's a chance actually that the Jets win out here, or not win out, but win some games to close out this season. I don't think you're looking at a top 4. I don't think you're looking at the Jets picking 4 and 5 in the draft this coming year. But I do think you're looking at a team that's going to be picking 6 and 8, maybe 5 and 9. I mean, there's a chance that like I said, there's a chance that this Jets draft can be franchise altering. And then obviously we talked last week about you loop in the pick from the Panthers as the Panthers keep losing because shocker, Cam Newton stinks. The Cam Newton that sucked with the Patriots is the same Cam Newton that sucks now because he's old and can't throw. Like, stunner, everybody. Just because he went back to Carolina doesn't mean he can suddenly play quarterback again. But with them continuing to lose and them continuing to stink, like this is a draft coming up that if Joe Douglas even bats at like a 250 clip, like he's got a chance to really turn the Jets franchise around, honestly. And I will say one more quick question. I swear to God, my friends joke with me about this all the time, and it's true. Like, if I'm an opposing general manager and Joe Douglas calls me about trading, I'm just not answering the phone. I don't care what he's offering. I don't care how great of a deal it seems like. I am not answering the phone if Joe Douglas is calling about a trade. I'm done with that. Like that. If I'm an opposing general manager, done. Nope. You see Joe. Hey, Joe, what's up? Hey, I was thinking about trading. Click. Hang the phone up because this is like a 4th round pick for Chris Herndon. Like, just stop trading with the guy. Like, it's amazing how these deals turn out for the Jets. Just stop. Sam Darnold, a 2 and a 4. Like and the guy's not even playing anymore. And he was awful when he was. Like, just stop talking to the guy. You're not like all the new NFL rules. You're not allowed to trade with Joe Douglas. That's the rule.
That's like the Giants of baseball in Major League Baseball. All right, press box food power rankings. We haven't really done this all season, I don't think, but we got to do it this week because Houston checking in at number 3, just behind Raymond James and Mercedes-Benz. We're going to bring up a picture. There was a lot of pictures. You can check them out on Connor's Instagram, which he's pushing anyway. So any chance you can get some extra love on Connor's Instagram. But this is I think it's the maple bacon donut, Connor.
Yeah. Maple bacon donut.
It looks good. Did you eat that whole thing?
I did. Yeah, I did. And actually, that's not my maple bacon donut. That is Rich Cimini's maple bacon donut because mine was devoured about 2 seconds later.
Connor, don't you know the phone eats first? Come on.
Yeah. That's a good line. Is that a
that's like an Instagram line. The phone eats first. Okay. You got to take a photo of it before you.
That's a good line. I've never heard that before. That's a good line though. I gotta say that to Bree. I don't know if Bree knows that line. That's a good one though. The reason we haven't done like the press box power rankings is because we haven't really been to that many new stadiums. So like Tottenham Spur was one, but like that stadium's one where it's like it's a spectacle. Tottenham, yeah, sorry. Totally screwed that one up. That's one where it's like a spectacle when you're there. So it's like a Super Bowl spread. So you can't really count that one. Like I can't rank that against what like the Falcons give you daily or what the Giants give you daily. That's just, I can't do that. So that one was kind of canceled out. Then Green Bay wasn't totally fully back when they were doing their power, like their press spread. Like they were still kind of COVID-ish because we got like a box food. So that was weird. And then the Giants were like sandwiches, but at least now we're back fully. Like the last 4 or 5 stadiums I've been to, they've all been stadiums I've been to before, but they are actual press spreads. This was the first new one I've been to. And when I tell you, like, that was something called Voodoo Donuts is what they had. So like apparently they're all over Food Network. I don't know. Guy Fieri. Yeah, there you go. Voodoo Donuts. Like Guy Fieri is my my boy. It's one of my celebrity crushes. I've never seen him go to Voodoo Donuts, so I haven't heard of it yet. But you walk into the press box, and there's a giant like Houston Texans layout, and all around the center is nothing but desserts. So there's pecan pies. There's more donuts and unique donuts than you can ever see. And if you want to see pictures of all this stuff, it's on my Instagram at Connor_J_Hughes. Marissa dropped the link, or drop the link below. Like you can go to my Instagram and see all the pictures and stuff like that. But they had like a massive spread of just donuts and cakes. And then in the back, there was a cooler filled with ice cream. To your left, you've got cake pops, like the Starbucks cake pops and a whole hot chocolate station and all that. Food was chicken fajitas and beef fajitas and breakfast sandwiches and rice and beans and all that stuff. Halftime was Chick-fil-A chicken fingers and Chick-fil-A sauces. And it was the quality was not as good as Mercedes-Benz, which also gives you a soft serve Carvel ice cream machine and Krispy Kreme donuts. So that's still number 2. And the quality was not nearly as good as Raymond James, which is just next level dynamite. But the overall spread, the quantity, the quality compared to everyone else that isn't number 1 or number 2 it was top notch. And I know like any other reporter is going to be like, how is Dallas not on this list? I've never been to Dallas. So I know Jerry's World is like going to be number one once I've been there. I've just never been there before. I know Minnesota going to be great. Just haven't been there before. So like, I know these things, but because I haven't been there, it doesn't really count yet. But for right now, NRG, well done. Number 3, big fan of it. Can't wait to go back hopefully soon, because Houston was kind of lame. Houston was kind of boring. Didn't really like that setup. But I will say that the spread was next level, especially those donuts. I mean, I had 2. I had a powdered one as well. I might as well just admit that here. I had a piece of pecan. I had the little pecan pie bite. I ate that. I had to do it. I mean, I had to do it for research
How were you
purposes.
able to like?
it was for
how
the
are you
good.
able to write after all of this? Like, if I eat that much junk food, like I need to like take a nap.
I don't see. Here's my thing: is I don't like sweets in terms of like cake, like a cake or generally a pie. Like I'm not gonna have like a big piece of apple pie. If Brie made like my cake, it has to be vanilla cake chocolate frosting, and it has to be like the Betty Crocker like cream cheese type frosting. Otherwise, I won't eat it. Like I won't touch it. But if you put crumb cake out there, if you put donuts out there, if you put powdered donuts, glazed donuts, that's where my sweet tooth kicks in. All the other stuff I can do without. So I walked in, I'm like, this is my heaven. Like, I mean, they had like Oreo donuts where it's like a vanilla glazed donut with Oreo crumbles on top. The bacon wrapped one was like, what the hell's going on? Joe Douglas at one point walked in the press box and he goes like, he saw us. So he goes like, oh, hey guys, how you doing? I was like, dude, there's a bacon wrapped maple donut over there. And you should have seen Douglas's. You would have thought I just offered Douglas another first round pick with how his eyes opened up when I said that. So he ran over, and that lucky bastard, as soon as he came in, they brought out new voodoo donuts. So I was like, oh my God, I got one that had been sitting for like 10 minutes. He got one fresh out the oven. So that was really upsetting. But yeah, overall NRG, great job. Well done.
Any more stops that could rank this year, or is that it?
No. So we've got Miami next, which the Miami food scene is great, but the stadium's usually just like I think it's probably top 10 or maybe just outside the top 10 with the press box power rankings. I got to look at the list, but it's usually fine. And then Buffalo's the weirdest one of all because they give you so much food. It's almost like I'm back at NJ. Yeah, it's like I'm back at NJ.com again, where it's quantity over quality, and it's like they have so much food, like so much, and they bring out pregame, they bring out halftime, they give out postgame, they have an entire dessert spread, and they have a massive like buffet style of all this types of food you can go and eat. But the wild thing is that whenever you eat it, you're like, none of it's really good. Like, so they give you a shit ton, but like they'll give you like soft pretzels, but the soft pretzels are cold and the cheese is like just lukewarm. And it's like, well, what the hell? They give you ice cream, but like the ice cream's like the little like dishes of ice cream that are like you had in school. And they give you like buffalo wings, but the buffalo wings are baked and like soft and mushy. And they give you like, the worst is they give you these things called like eggs, but they're like cubed. So I call them, I think they're supposed to be scrambled eggs, but they look like egg cubes and they're just nasty. So you're like, oh, eggs, sausage, bagels, all this stuff. But it's like none of it's good. And that's what like frustrating because like you eat there and I'm like, I'm just not happy I ate any of that. Damn it. Thing freaking fell. I should have just I should have just done what I was going to do and spent the $150 on Black Friday on the AirPods that you have, Tim, because these stink. They always fall. It's like typical. I'm moving around too much. I guess I'm a little too hopped up on this coffee I'm drinking. But right. Yeah, I mean, other than that, we have Miami and we have Buffalo, and those two I don't think are. Miami should be fine. Like I never hate eating a Miami. Usually they give you key lime pie, which is pretty good. But Buffalo is like you always look at it and you're like, wow, this is going to be so good. And then you actually eat it and you're like, eh. And I get in this, Janae Coakley is like big into the press box spread with me. Like she's real into it as well. So like she usually comes in because she does the pregame hit. So she'll come in and immediately she does the rounds and she finds me. She goes, what are we thinking, Connor? Like, it's the immediate. So she always goes into Buffalo. It's every year now, like 4 years in a row. She goes into Buffalo. She goes, oh, this has got to be great. And every time I tell her, she's got to remember eventually. Every time I look at her and I'm like, Janae, just eat it first. Like, eat it and you'll understand what I say. She's like, look at this. Look, I was like, just, it's like if you're marrying somebody and the personality's terrible. Like, it's like, eventually it's going to run dry. It might look great, but it's not going to taste good. And that's what this is. It looks great, doesn't taste good. And it's like, it's, I don't know, maybe they changed it post-pandemic, but that's been every trip to Buffalo so far for me.
Well, hopefully the Jets look great and play great coming up this week against the Eagles. We'll have a preview of that coming up later in the week. That's going to do it for this edition of the podcast. If you want to subscribe to The Athletic, I can't remember the exact percentage off that's going on right now. Maybe Marissa can remind me, but it's theathletic.com/can't wait to get a great deal on The Athletic. Thanks for joining us.